guys, welcome back to another episode of Continuously Refined.
I'm Shayna.
And I'm Sicily.
And today we are really going to be diving into the basis and the foundation of how it is that we live our life. Pretty much what is functional medicine? What does it look like to live a holistic life? And kind of just really glance over what that looks like.
Yeah, so to kind of kick us off, the definition of holistic is relating to or concerned with wholes or with complete systems rather than with the analysis of, treatment of, or dissection into parts. So you're really looking at the whole picture, how the entire body works together because all parts of your body are so interconnected.
I think it's a really cool way to look at life and have that kind of perception. And living a holistic life is really focused on the three parts. So mind, body, and your soul, and how each of the three affect each other. And starting to live out this life, I'm now seeing how interconnected these three are, because at the beginning, it was really hard for me to kind of hone in on some of these things. So to touch on the first one, the mind, it's really important in our life to create a healthy mindset. How we think about things, our mindset when we enter into situations or when we leave situations. When you think positively about yourself or scenarios, that is going to then lead you to really take action in other areas. And what we think, we then go and create.
Then the second is your body, so the physical. This one's probably the easiest one to grasp out of all of them because you can see and feel the difference when you're properly nourishing your body. And you can do this through eating a balanced diet with real whole foods and ingredients, drinking enough water, getting enough sleep, exercising. All of these things work together to help your body function better. And holistic it's focusing on the wellness. So you want to live in your overall good health, and really taking your physical body into account for this is super helpful.
Yes. And then the third one is the soul. And this for me was the hardest of the three. The soul is living a life that is in alignment with your personal values. So the things that you believe and the way that you want to live out your life and how you feel about those things, that is interconnected with the soul. It's really making a meaningful connection or contribution in the world, and then a connection to those around you. And how do you feel your inner person? So those are the three things, really living holistically, being mindful and aware of the present moment. And Cicely is really good about her mindfulness. So what are some things that you do to bring awareness to your mindfulness?
Yeah, so I really like meditation and taking time to just kind of slow my brain down, whether it's looking up a YouTube video for meditation or listening to music and doing breath work. Both are really important with like slowing my heart rate down and just like getting thoughts out of my head that just like never want to leave. I feel like my brain is just kind of always spiraling. I also really love journaling and getting thoughts down on paper, doing yoga, things that I just feel like can really like slow my body down. I've been loving slow mornings lately and just like taking the time to just kind of like set my intentions for the day, set my day up. I do affirmations a lot. I have an app called I Am that will send me like all these little affirmations at random times throughout the day. And those really help me, what we talked about with mind, of like being in that positive mindset, because that helps you to actually create things. I feel like that has been like so important for me.
I love the gratitude and making sure that you're implementing that throughout your entire day. Because a lot of times we just run through life and we continue moving, and we are not taking the time to sit down and look back on the experiences that we had or how we approach those situations. So it's really cool to take that time, be mindful in the present moment, but also think back on the experiences you've had and how you want to continue to live your life moving forward.
Yeah, something my therapist taught me a long time ago was that you can't be anxious and grateful at the same time. So if you're constantly telling yourself to be grateful for this, to look for like the positive in something, you can't be anxious about that same thing. And I like literally live my life on that because that is so helpful to me, especially with like we talked about in the episode, I think episode 2 that we did on my journey, we talked a lot about how like my anxiety and my stomach are both so interconnected, this holistic like way your body works. And so having to deal with my anxiety has been such a big part of also having to heal my body.
And yes, really that mind, body, and soul connection. And if one thing's out of alignment, that's going to lead another thing to be out of alignment. So we do use these little tips and tricks to make our body, our whole body, feel good. But what's really important about living a holistic life is having balance. Slowly incorporating very small but yet sustainable changes. So not I'm going to go to the gym every single day for a week and then I'm going to be a couch potato for the rest of the month. But those small changes that can be sustainable. I'm going to work out twice a week for an entire month. Really sustainable changes, not having an all or nothing mindset. But hey, I'm going to try my best. I know I'm going to fail. I can't eat this clean every single meal all the time. I can't work out for an hour every single day, but having grace on yourself, but trying and kind of giving yourself goals to achieve. Set those goals, try to achieve them. And we love living an 80-20 lifestyle. I think it's one of my favorite phrases is 80% of the time, I'm going to try my gosh darn hardest to live this way. But 20% of the time, I'm going to also have some fun and I'm going to go drink some alcohol. We're both 21 and I'm going to eat that chocolate bar and things like that. So really living that 80-20 lifestyle is a goal that we live by.
I even found myself earlier today, I was driving home from the grocery store and I was thinking about like when I was going to work out this week. And my goal has been to weight lift 3 times a week for the past probably like month now. And I think every week I've hit like going to the gym twice and I've weightlifted twice. And I have viewed it as like I've been failing and like haven't been doing it. And then today on the way home, it clicked with me of like, if I've done it like 75% of the time, that's so good. Like I haven't quite hit 100, but like I've done it 2 out of the 3 times that I'm supposed to every week. Like that is so good. And I was like discounting that because I hadn't gotten that 3rd one. So I'm so bad about like, it's all or nothing. I'm like, oh, I have to go to the gym every single day this week. Otherwise it doesn't count, which again is not at all the case. And like you can go to the gym during the week and you can eat really healthy and clean all week. And then you can still go out on a like night on the weekend or just like do something that you love, that makes you happy, that's nourishing your mind and your soul and maybe not necessarily your physical.
That's a really good point. And I think the two of us are super good about like the 80-20 in a sense that if we're going to do something that we enjoy, like it's okay. And that can be the 20% of the time. And really these changes and living a holistic life, it's a journey. It's a lifelong journey that's never ending. And you're continuing to implement these changes and take things out that don't work for you. And so we both kind of live this holistic lifestyle because we first got into functional medicine, which we've talked about how we couldn't get answers on a lot of stuff. And so we turned to wanting a way that would just completely fix and solve everything that we were doing instead of just putting this like cover over our symptoms. So true. And that led us to functional medicine, which was also used to be known as alternative medicine. According to the Institute of Functional Medicine, it's identifying and addressing the root cause of the issue and disease. So a diagnosis can be a result of more than one cause. For example, high blood pressure. Our Western medicine is when you have high blood pressure, they just give you a prescription. They see one symptom and they want to fix it. Whereas functional medicine is going to look at all of the different things that could cause this high blood pressure and then changing your life so that you have a long-term effect and that high blood pressure doesn't come back right when you get off, say, this prescription, really creating this longevity of it. So that's functional medicine?
Yeah, they really use food as medicine. They focus first on nutrition, on lifestyle. When you first start working with the functional medicine, they review about every aspect they possibly could of your life, from your history to how do you work out during the week, to your sleep patterns, to your diet, to your alcohol intake, to literally everything that they could try to get metrics on, because that is what they start to then look at, and they look at blood work and start to do tests to really see what is the cause. They don't want to just put this Band-Aid over your symptoms, which is what regular medicine and Western medicine kind of promotes mostly.
And what I really loved about that first kind of meeting, like doctor's appointment that I had with my functional medicine, she had ran a whole bunch of blood work and then sat there with me together. And for an hour and a half, not only was she focused on getting my period back, but we looked at so many other things. For an hour and a half, sat there and went through every level and what was off, and the cortisol and the way that I'm sleeping, and I have insulin resistance and X, Y, and Z. So it was really cool that she looked at the whole picture of my body and how things were not working pretty much, and then had me make integrated life changes that would hit all of those things. So I was just living an overall healthier life.
Yeah, something else I really love about functional medicine is that the functional medicine doctors really live that lifestyle. And so they live the lifestyle that they're promoting us to live. My doctor will share with me all the time, like, his own experiences. And like, when I was first going through everything, he was like, yeah, I eat this way, but I maybe cheat on it like 6 times a year. Or like, I work out this many times and that's what works for me. Or my wife does this. And that's always so helpful because it's right off the bat someone you can relate to. And I think it can be really hard when you're sitting in just like a normal doctor's office and they're like, oh, like, you should be doing this and you should be doing this. And you're kind of looking at them being like, well, are you doing that? And so it's really nice when working with the functional medicine doctor that it almost feels like they're just like along for the walk with you and you're not necessarily like doing it on your own.
I really like that. It's so cool to be able to relate to your doctor and continue to go back to them and message them when you're dealing with different issues. So I really enjoyed almost having like this friend in a functional medicine doctor. And so another question that we want to answer is, why would you choose functional medicine over primary care? And a lot of times, especially on this podcast, we are going to crap on primary care because it didn't work for us and it frustrates us. But we do know that the doctors are so smart and they have gone through so much school and they are credible for sure. And I'm so grateful for the medicine that they have been able to create over the last, 70 to 100 years. But for us, we've turned to functional medicine.
Yeah. And so one of the reasons that you could choose functional medicine over primary care is what we've talked about. It doesn't mask the symptoms, but you're actually curing the cause. And they do this by relying on the collection of data and not just a doctor's diagnosis. So doctors learn early on how to give a diagnosis in med school and in their regular undergrad. And from what they've learned, they give their diagnosis based on that. They can be wrong, and functional medicine doctors could be wrong as well, but instead functional medicine doctors wait and they review their lab results that you've done, all the tests you've done first before making a diagnosis so that they have the data to back it up. Whereas primary care does the opposite. They make the diagnosis and then might ask you to go get more tests to prove their diagnosis for your treatment.
As well, functional medicine and the treatments of it are extremely personalized. They're not looking at, you are in this category, this 15-year age gap category, female, have this issue, here's your diagnosis. But functional medicine, they don't approach it as a one treatment fits all, but really based on that patient's data. They determine how is it best to treat that one individual for their issues that they're having.
Yeah, they're not focused on treating that whole disease for every single person, which is super important, especially for the people that have chronic diseases. And those are people that turn to functional medicine a lot. The third reason is that treatment often benefits your entire being. So they're putting you on supplements, they're changing your lifestyle, you're eating healthier. That's helping you to live healthier overall, to live longer. Longevity is super important to a lot of people. Through food, sleep, your mental health is improved, your stress levels, your environment. You're super focused on health and not illness. And I think this is so important because I love my health class that I'm in, but in it we talk about how health, like we've been socialized to believe that you're healthy if you're not ill. If you're not physically in the doctor's office because you have a cold or you're sick, that you're healthy, which is not the case at all. 97% of Americans are not living a healthy lifestyle because they're missing one of the main markers of they're not getting enough sleep. They're not eating the way that they should be. Their mental health isn't good or their stress levels are too high. They're in a toxic environment. Work is toxic. There's something about it that isn't fitting into the 3% of people that are doing everything that they're supposed to be.
And it's a crazy to change your perspective toward that way, that you're not healthy just because you're not ill, or you're healthy just because you're not ill. And really something that we have started in our life is everything we do is trying to create a healthy habits, healthy lifestyle, so we feel better for ourselves. And so I've loved it. It's been such a joy to also, because you can tell how much better I'm feeling, how much more energy I'm having. So it has, as much as it's hard to change the way you eat and change the way you're working out, you can see the effects, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and you notice it start to impact so many different areas of your life. We've talked about how you'll notice your mental health start to improve. You might notice you're not as tired anymore, or you're sleeping better at night. All these little things that you might not have necessarily gone in to see a functional medicine doctor for are starting to improve because you're living that holistic lifestyle. You're improving your overall well-being.
And we believe that everyone could use functional medicine, from an elderly person to a baby, anyone with a chronic condition. It's really great because you're solving the actual problem and you're not just masking the symptoms. Children, it's really great to see a functional medicine. And we talk a lot about how one day we're going to raise our children. We're not just going to give them Benadryl when they have a fever, but we're actually going to use food as medicine and making sure they're getting enough rest. And so antibiotics was one of the really big things that you had as a child, and it really created a detriment nowadays, 15, 20 years later.
Yeah, it really messed with my gut microbiome because I was on them so much as a kid, because they kill the good bacteria that's in your gut, and overuse or too much of taking antibiotics can kill and cause bacterial resistance since it's killing the good bacteria. And that causes antibiotics to not even work at all, and it totally throws off your gut microbiome, which can also happen if you get the wrong diagnosis, which ties back to you might get the wrong diagnosis a few times before they get it right. And especially if you have a chronic condition, that can be super hard. And Western medicine just kind of tells us that, oh, you have this chronic condition, there's no way to help you. Like, you're going to have this forever. And that isn't necessarily the case. Like, there are so many ways to start healing your body and to start working around that.
And we have loved changing our lifestyle to look at not only our physical body, but also our mind and our soul, and getting to talk to someone like Sicily who's gone through and related to the same things has been so refreshing and so eye-opening. And we've loved learning more about it and turning to this lifestyle, sharing it with our friends, and hearing the changes that they're continuing to make in their life has been really great.
Yeah, and just turning to functional medicine has been such an experience for both of us, and we'll talk about it to literally anyone and everyone all the time. But I hope this was helpful to you guys and that you guys were able to learn more about functional medicine. If you ever have more questions about it or about living a holistic lifestyle, please let us know. DM us on Instagram at Continuously Refined. We would love to just continue to answer your questions throughout these episodes. We definitely want to do one diving in a little bit more on antibiotics and what to do when you're sick, and even stuff with mindfulness and your soul and how to help with that too. But this is kind of a big, just like general, overall, holistic, functional medicine lifestyle.
So thanks so much for listening, and we can't wait to continue refining our lives together.
Bye.
Bye.